Hello, I'm CJ Werleman, and this week we reveal how and why Israel is deliberately and strategically killing its own hostages in Gaza. But first, please don't forget to like and subscribe to our show. Now let's get into it. Since the start of this year, the United States and Israel have conspired to convince the world that Hamas is opposed to any form of ceasefire deal. But this claim is an easily provable lie, given the Palestinian resistance has stated loudly, repeatedly, and categorically that it supports any deal that guarantees a permanent ceasefire and a release of all hostages, both Israeli and Palestinian. But Israel has only ever offered Hamas a temporary ceasefire, and for two notable reasons. Firstly, it doesn't want to lose its license to kill Palestinians in Gaza, and secondly, Israel hasn't finished killing its own hostages. Yes, you heard that right. Israel is deliberately and strategically killing its own hostages because it doesn't want them to return safely to their families and then tell the world what they witnessed the Israeli military do to unarmed civilians during the past 10 months. This is not some crazy conspiracy. The evidence is right out in the open, but more to the point, Israel doesn't deny this is exactly what it's doing. On Tuesday, it admitted to killing another 6 of its own hostages when an IDF mortar round ignited a fire that suffocated 5 of these 6 hostages to death with carbon dioxide, according to Israeli media outlets. This is astonishing because it means Israeli journalists are being more open and honest about the killing of Israeli hostages than their counterparts in the US media, who make no mention of the fact the Israeli military is responsible for these deaths.
Israel's military says it recovered the bodies of 6 hostages during an overnight operation in southern Gaza. It comes as negotiations for a ceasefire deal resume today.
Israel is so shameless about its intent to kill its own hostages that Israeli snipers even shot and killed escaped Israeli hostages who were waving the white flag.
And a stunning admission from the Israeli military about the killing of 3 hostages in Gaza by Israeli troops. We're now learning that the 3 men were holding up a white flag before they were shot.
Now think about that for a moment. A highly trained Israeli sniper has in his sights 3 white-skinned targets wearing civilian clothes and waving a white flag. But he shoots and kills them anyway. That's no mistake. That's calculated murder. And we know it's calculated because Israel has long had a policy of killing their own men and women to prevent them from being taken captive. The policy is known as the Hannibal Directive, and Israel admitted to deploying this strategy on October 7th, when it ordered the military to indiscriminately bomb the Nova Music Festival with mortars and Apache gunship fire to prevent hostages from being taken, which means Israel, not Hamas, was responsible for the overwhelming majority of casualties on that terrible day.
נפגעו חטופים בשלב שהתחיל ירי של מסקרים וכטמ"מים על הגדר, כשראו את המסות שנכנסות ויוצאות.
נוהל חניבל אבל זה בכוונה, זאת אומרת, אם הופעל אז הוא הופעל בכוונה, אם נפגעו חטופים במקרה זה משהו אחר.
נוהל חניבל כנראה הופעל באיזשהו שלב, כי ברגע שהבינו שיש חטיפה, אז הם מיד אומרים, חבר'ה, זה חניבל. אבל בחניבל שאנחנו התאמנו עליו כל ה-20 שנה האחרונות, זה רכב שיודעים מאיזה נקודה בגדר הוא נכנס, מאיזה רכב, באיזה צד הוא נוסע, ואולי אפילו על איזה ציר הוא נע. פה זה היה חניבל המוני. זה היה המון פתחים בגדר, ואלפי אנשים על כל סוגי כלי הרכב למיניהם, שהיו גם עם חטופים וגם בלי. זה היה משימה בלתי אפשרית לזהות ולעשות מה שעשו. אני יודע שמי שהיה לו חימוש ביד, כטמ"מים והמסקרים, עשו את כל מה שהם יכלו, בלי שליטה, בלי תאום.
An Israeli Apache gunship pilot confessed to shooting anything that moved at the site of the Nova Music Festival on October 7th.
אני באוויר, באחת הגיחות נאמר כבר שיש חטופים.
ואז מה עושים? איך מבצעים ירי על מי שחוזר לכיוון הגבול?
זו שאלה טובה, וזו דילמה סופר מורכבת.
כל ההחלטה עכשיו היא עליך.
נכון.
אין עם מי לדבר.
כן, אין עם מי לדבר.
Taken together, this is the Israeli military leadership and the rank and file confessing to Israeli journalists that the Hannibal Directive was deployed on October 7th, resulting in a lion's share of civilian casualties. But across the other side of the world, in the United States, the Biden administration tried to run interference for Israel's dirty work by pretending it's never even heard of the Hannibal Directive.
Talk about the hostages. Israel has a Hannibal Directive in which it has orders in place to kill at least its own soldiers, lest they fall into the hands of Palestinian groups. And there's substantial reporting that in fact, was utilized on October 7th, not just against Israeli soldiers, but against civilians. Are we not now in a situation where Israel may be using the Hannibal Directive, not just on Israelis, civilians and military, but on U.S. citizens and other foreign nationals?
So I am not familiar in any way with either that supposed directive or those reports. And so
you've never heard of the Hannibal?
Certainly would not want to comment on it.
You've never heard of the Hannibal Directive?
Future historians will study the way in which the US government has lied directly to the faces of American journalists to shield a foreign country from criticism on US soil. It's the stuff of dystopian nightmares. But one of the reasons why Israel is killing its own hostages is it doesn't want a repeat of 25th November, when Hamas released the first group of 24 hostages, which resulted in a public relations nightmare for the Israeli war machine, when an Israeli hostage said this about her captors.
When she first arrived, they told them that they are Muslims and they're not going to hurt them, and that they ate the same food that the Hamas was eating. My mom is saying that they treat them kindly and provided for them.
2 months later, Israel was dealt another PR disaster when Hamas released another group of hostages who farewelled and thanked their captors for treating them so well and for releasing them unharmed. One even turned back and extended her hand to a Hamas fighter.
It's okay, let's go. It's okay, let's go. Yes. So you go with this one. Okay. You go with this lady. Okay.
But for Israel, its invasion and bombardment of Gaza was never about saving hostages. It was always about destroying Gaza and a future contiguous Palestinian state forever, as evident by the fact that it has dropped 70,000 tons of bombs on areas in which the hostages are held, with every one of these tiny red pinpricks representing an area bombed by Israeli warplanes since October 7. This carpet bombing campaign, this kill anything that moves campaign, this genocidal campaign prompted Hamas to taunt the Zionist military with this video saying, and I quote, "We tried to keep the hostages alive and well, but you kept killing them." An Israeli newspaper reported on the 22nd of February that the Israeli military identified a building being used to house some of the hostages, but it bombed it anyway, killing one of them. And survivors told journalists that their number one fear in Gaza was being killed by Israeli warplanes. The families of Israeli hostages are also taunting the Israeli government for either deliberately killing their loved ones and/or doing nothing to actually save them. They even heckled Netanyahu at the Israeli parliament, calling him a killer. Now, of course, the Israeli and US governments don't want you to know any of this. They want you to believe this unrelenting genocide is a result of Hamas refusing to release the hostages. But you know better, and the hostages know better too, which is ultimately why Israel is determined to kill every last one of them, given every surviving hostage represents a potential threat to the Zionist state, because of the crimes they have seen their military commit in Gaza up close and personal. They are eyewitness testimonies to genocide. This is Israel. There's no level of depravity it's unwilling to go in the pursuit of advancing the Zionist colonial project in the Middle East. It must be stopped. It will be stopped and inevitably defeated. But that's my time for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel, and we kindly ask you please support our effort to expose and confront injustices in the Muslim world by becoming a member of this show at patreon.com/CJ We can't produce, sustain, and grow this show without your help, and we offer exclusive content and benefits to those who do. But for now, good morning, good evening, wherever you are, and stay blessed.